What's going on, my trainer club? Today we're going to look at the best of the best for Darkrai. Is it worth your time and effort and resources to power up in Pokemon Go? So welcome to the trainer club. Here we go. Welcome back, everybody. Let me know in the comments below, how are you doing with your Darkrais? Has it been lucrative for you? Has it been hard to catch, easy to catch? Are you taking full advantage of that double candy? Let me know in the comments below, because this is definitely a Pokemon that you want to have. Try to get a good one, because it is going to be a pretty worthwhile Pokemon, which is exactly why we're sitting here right now, because we are going to check out my best of the best series to analyze. Is Darkrai in your best interest? A good utilization of your resources, because Stardust and candy are a very hot commodity in the game, and we want to make sure that you guys utilize it to the best of your abilities. We're going to check out the Darkrai. It gets a couple of unique movesets. So number one, we're going to check it out as a dark attacker, and then we're also going to compare it as a ghost attacker, because it does get Shadow Ball, and Shadow Ball is a pretty cool, unique moveset. So I want to make sure you guys know, if you happen to have a Darkrai, you power it all the way up, utilize it for the dark attacker's standpoint, should you also have a second charge move or anything like that. So if you do want to, check in my pinned comments below. We're gonna go over DPS, TDO, and then DPS times TDO. And I know a lot of you guys do watch a lot of my videos. So if you already know all these things and you wanna just skip right over it, make sure to check the pinned comments below. But let's get right into it right now. We are going to start off with the DPS, which stands for damage per second. And damage per second is going to be like one swift punch in a boxing match. How much power can it do? And it takes into account the stab effectiveness, which is same type attack bonus, meaning since Darkrai is a dark attacker, when he utilizes his dark move, how much damage can it give off, right? And with those same types, you get a boost. But for the Shadow Ball, it's not going to get a stab effectiveness, even though it's a pretty effective move. The Gengar or the Giratina Origin form utilizing Shadow Ball would be a little bit better of an option potentially. Doesn't have to be, because if the stats of the Darkrai outweigh the other ones, the stab bonus, the attack bonus, is not going to be worthwhile enough to get it up there. Next, we're going to check out the TDO, which stands for total damage output. Total damage output is going to be over the entire lifespan of Darkrai. How much damage is it going to deliver? If you want a good depiction of the TDO, let's check out the fire attackers. If you think of like a Ho-Oh, it's going to be very tanky, very powerful, but it's not going to potentially deliver a ton of damage over the lifespan of it. But then if you use something like a Blaziken, it's going to have really high DPS, a little bit lower on the TDO standpoint, which brings us into DPS times TDO, which basically is a mashup of those two things, because you don't want a very high, quick attacking, only one or two shots and then it dies out, because that's not really going to do you any justice. You're going to have to be using a lot of potions, and it's going to take time for the Pokemon to die out and then come back in with a new one, so that's going to slowly dampen your raid time. Or you also don't want a TDO Pokemon that just sits in there for so long and it doesn't ever die, but it doesn't really do enough damage to actually make the raid bosses go down, because that wouldn't be to your benefit either. What we do want is combining these two stats to have a very high damage output and a very good lifespan, so that when you combine these two stats, you are basically going to sit with the best Pokemon that you can have for that category, and that is the most valuable stat that we can pull. But then we take it one step further, because we're trainers. We need to use our brains to analyze, is this Pokemon's a 1-bar move, a 2-bar move, or is this one with the 1-bar move so much more superior that the 2-bar move wouldn't even have a chance? Let's say the 1-bar move was 30 points above the 2-bar move. It might be in your best interest to power up that 2-bar move, just because the 2-bar move would then give you an additional tack if your Pokemon dies out halfway through. And that's really why our brains and our trainer analysis is so crucial to this. But starting off, we're going to check out the Darkrai. Darkrai, as the dark attacker, hence the name Darkrai, is going to be the DPS. So we're going to check out the DPS for the Darkrai in the dark attackers. So let's check it out right now. Starting at the top with the DPS, we have the surprise Darkrai with the Snarl and the Dark Pulse combination at 16.803. And then we have Zoroark with the Snarl Foul Play at 16.377. And then we have the Darkrai with the Feint Attack and Dark Pulse at 16.284. Then we have a Weavile with Snarl Foul Play at 15.779. Then we have Honchkrow Snarl Dark Pulse 15.167. Weavile again. And then we have Hydreigon Bite Dark Pulse at 15.056. Then we have Absol at Snarl Dark Pulse at 14.976. Then we have Houndoom Snarl Foul Play, 14.808. Then we have Sharpedo. If you want to go on to the second page, the only one I'm going to point out here is going to be the Tyranitar with the Bite Crunch combination. Not the highest DPS, but we will check them out in a little bit. Bite Crunch is going to be at 14.275. And if you want to pause on the second page, you can check it out, or you can go to the third page as well and check this out. So it's looking good already with Darkrai sitting up top of the DPS categories, because we know if it's gonna sit at the top of one category, pretty close to the top or at the top of the second category, you can be sure that the last category is going to reflect that as well. But now we're gonna check out the TDO. Like I said, total damage output. Think more along the lines of a tankier Pokemon. We're gonna check out where the Tyranitar sits, because we know Tyranitar is pretty much the best dark attacker. And since in the DPS category, it was on the second page in the 11th spot, which is kind of surprising, the TDO must weigh in to make sure that it makes up for the difference. So let's check out TDO, Dark Pokemon, and where Darkrai sits right now. Starting at the top for TDO, we have the Tyranitar Surprise Surprise Bite Crunch combination at 527.8. Then we have the Hydreigon Bite Dark Pulse, 479.4. Then we have the Darkrai sitting in the third spot, which is looking pretty good, with both of its moveset in the fourth spot as well at 464.5 and then 450.1. Then we have Weavile Snarl Foul Play, 380.9. Then we have Alolan Muck, pretty tanky Pokemon, great PvP option, Snarl Dark Pulse at 378. Another Alolan Muck with the Bite Dark Pulse combination, 374. Then we have Crocodile Snarl Crunch at 370, Weavile 365.1, Umbreon 356.4. And then if we go on to the second page, we have Mandibuzz on the second page at 352. Then we have Umbreon Faint Attack Foul Play at 342. And then if you guys want to pause here to check out any of the other ones, which are going down quite significantly in the TDO category, and if you want to go to the third page, you can go ahead and pause it here to check out more. There it is for the Tyranitar making up in the TDO category, because he is a very, very solid dark attacker, quite arguably the best dark attacker overall in the game right now, until obviously right now, which is why we're doing this for the Darkrai, because Darkrai is in the third and fourth spot with both of its dark movesets, putting it in the TDO. So that's really looking good. So now we're gonna check out DPS times TDO for the best analysis of the dark type attackers before we start utilizing our trainer brain. So let's check this out right now. Darkrai, again, sitting at the top, another big surprise here. We have the Snarl Dark Pulse combination at 2203. Then we have the Dark Pulse with the Faint Attack and Dark Pulse, 1943. So that Snarl is definitely going to sit it quite significantly above the Faint Attack with about 300 points. Then we have the Hydreigon with the Bite Dark Pulse combination at 1636. Then we have Tyranitar sitting in the fourth spot, which was, before Gen 5 release in this Darkrai, the #1 dark attacker with the Bite Crunch combination, 1535.2. So the Tyranitar, even though its DPS is slightly lower, the TDO really pulls its weight up to make it a best dark attacker in the game until now. And then we have the Weavile with the Snarl Foul Play at 1496. Then we have another Weavile, and then a Zoroark at the Snarl Foul Play at 1205. Then we have the Honchkrow, and the TDO times DPS is going significantly down from here, guys. We have 1040. Then we have Houndoom Snarl Foul Play, 1039. Then we have Bisharp with the Snarl Dark Pulse at 888. And then we have an Absol on here, 839. Alolan Muck, 613. So that DPS lack really hurts that Alolan Muck. And then we have a Shiftry, a Sharpedo. If you guys want to go ahead and pause on either the second or the third page, which is going to be right here, but just notice the TDO times DPS is quite significantly down in this position. All right, guys, that's going to do it for the DPS times TDO. So what do you guys think? Do we have a new reigning supreme? I think it's pretty obvious the Darkrai is the new best dark attacker in the game, and it's going to be quite significantly so, by about 800 points above the current best before this, which is the Tyranitar. So sitting really pretty. It's got a good combination moveset, and I really suggest that hunting this guy down during this Halloween event and trying to get as many as you possibly can, especially a good one, is going to be an amazing thing to do. It is going to be a Mewtwo Slayer in the future, right? It's going to really contest the top attackers for Mewtwo for sure. I'm excited to see that, and it really pulls up the amount of DPS times TDO for overall in the dark category, which is definitely something that we need. Similar to the ground category, we need that pull up. We just got it in the dark category. So I just want to show a quick analysis with the Shadow Ball as well as using the Focus Blast so you guys can see Darkrai is a pretty good attacker, right? It's got an attack stat of 285. That really sits it pretty significantly up there and helps boost it with all of its movesets. So checking out here, we're gonna check out the Shadow Ball combination. Every Pokemon with Shadow Ball. We obviously have the Mewtwo with the DPS times TDO at 3336. And then we have the Chandelure at 2647. Then we have Giratina Origin Form 2638. And then we have the Darkrai sitting in the 6th spot with the Snarl Shadow Ball combination at 2465. Which is 900 points below the Mewtwo, which is pretty significant based on Mewtwo being such a dominant attacker, but it's really only sitting 200 points below the Giratina and the Chandelure for the Ghost attacker with Shadow Ball. And the crazy thing is, the Darkrai is not even getting a stab effective boost as the Giratina Origin Form and the Chandelure are because they are Ghost typing. This is just a pure Dark. So that moveset is very powerful. Definitely something to consider to have an extra charge move if you have extra resources to do so. And now we're gonna check it out. Just want to be curious, just a quick overview of it with Focus Blast and how it sits for the fighting attackers. So if we're looking at Pokemon that get a fighting charge move, we have the White Kyurem, still could be broken, so we're not really gonna focus on that, but currently right now we have the Mewtwo with the Confusion Focus Blast, delivering a DPS times TDO at 2438. Then we have Conkeldurr, Counter Dynamic Punch 2401. Then we have a Mewtwo, and then we have a Machamp down here, right? With the Counter Dynamic Punch at 1851, and then Conkeldurr, and then right under it in the 9th spot is gonna be the Darkrai Snarl Focus Blast at 1764, which puts it only 100 points below the current best fighting attacker in the game of Machamp, which is absolutely mind-blowing. It feels really good to be able to finally recommend a Pokemon that you power up. However, don't just go power it up unless you got a ton of resources. Like I say, get a good one, put it on the shelf, wait for it until we need it. Keep stacking your resources up because you don't want to use your Stardust resources right now if you don't have too much. And then a new Pokemon comes out and you're like, oh, I don't need this Darkrai. That would be not the best situation. You want to try to get a good one. We're going to power it up when it is time to utilize it. Like I said, there's no point in putting a 100-gallon gas tank car, fill it all the way up and sit it in a garage for a year because the gas could maybe even go bad at that point. I mean, obviously your Darkrai is not gonna go bad at that point, but you do want to conserve your resources and keep stacking up until it is the best place scenario. And you may also consider unlocking a second charge move with that being Shadow Ball because that's a pretty unique combination. As far as the best of the best, we finally have a recommendation to power up, but like always, just hold on to your resources, wait until we need it. Once we need Dark Pokemon, boom, we are gonna put that Darkrai in there and it is going to do a lot of damage. Thank you guys for tuning in. All my likers, commenters, subscribers, and sharers, it helps the channel out a lot. And then all of my Patreon members who take their subscriptions to that next level. I am gonna see you guys out on the next video. Peace.
I just want to take a moment and sincerely thank all of my Patreon members, everybody that has taken their subscription to the next level and chosen to support me on this platform. I greatly appreciate you guys. As a growing channel and really trying to grow and improve as much as I possibly can, I really appreciate the extra support. You guys mean the absolute world to me. I cannot wait to connect with you soon, and I appreciate you guys all for being a part of the Trainer Club. I will see you guys out on the next video.